This is not an easy video for me to make, not because I don't know what I want to say, but because being seen and heard has never felt safe for me. I've been thinking about making this video for a long time. I kept telling myself I needed to be more like in the moment, more spontaneous, more polished, more real. And every time I waited for that version of myself to arrive, nothing moved. So this is me choosing movement instead of waiting. I'm using a script for most, if not all, of this video, and I am reading from my written pages so I can stay with what I'm saying. Not because I'm disconnected, but because this is how I can stay present without disappearing. This is what works for me right now, and right now is enough. Before I read this, I want to be clear about what this is. What I'm about to share isn't polished or instructional. It's a record of what it felt like to be inside my body and mind in that moment. I'm sharing it because these were my real thoughts and emotions spoken the way they needed to be spoken in order to move through me. I'm not going to clean them up or translate them into something easier to digest. If parts of this resonate with you, that matters. And if parts of it don't, that's okay too. This isn't an argument, it's a witnessing. I wrote this during a very early morning when a lot of anger, grief, and exhaustion surfaced. I'm going to read it as it was written, not because it's polished, but because it's honest. This is where it starts. Talk about the fucked up reality of being a generational curse breaker who is breaking the chains from multiple family lines, not just the one incarnated in now, and how lonely and painful this role/job, or I guess also should be called a blessing, since it is actually a pretty cool job/role to have, but is extremely fucked up. In an immensely lonely as fuck life once awake, and how life seemed to flow before because there wasn't only realization of this role/job until BAM! Realization activated and everything is fucked and you lose everyone in your life because you go crazy and are pinned as the bad guy to everything, and your resources completely dwindle away and you have even more fucking debt, and you are left completely emotionally drained, especially after being bedridden for a minimum of a year because everyone around, including yourself, completely depleted your energy. And then you came out of this shithole of an energy you once had before back. It's raw. I don't know. Not even the worst fucking colds could produce these kinds of despairing results. And so you turn to spirituality and go deep as fuck within and try all of the things recommended/suggested, and nothing seems to help. I believe this is in part due to the fact that it is extremely hard to gain energy back after your body has almost literally, been in the same fucking spot for at least a year minimum, which is essentially like being in a fucking coma. And this is not an exaggeration, people. I know other people will just essentially judge and shame and guilt us individuals that this happens to by saying or thinking that we just didn't or aren't trying hard enough. And we are just stuck in victimhood and looking for someone to save us and solve the problem for us, which I must say is kind of fucked up on their parts. But then again, I also understand, because from the outside looking in, or a higher perspective, when somebody's state hasn't changed after they have gone further than rock bottom, a rock bottom that includes other people's rock bottoms that they couldn't hold and passed on to a container that did not know any better at the time this shit was being passed to them, it looks as though that person is just maybe enjoying being in that state because they feel like people will do the work for them to get them out of it, which is Obviously, it's something that they want because they haven't made any movement in over a year and haven't made any progress, positive progress whatsoever. Anyway, as usual, I got off track. I'm going to try my fucking hardest to get back on track and make sense and not be all over the place. And that was like the end of the note. I don't. I'm not interested in policing my own language or emotional honesty anymore. I know deeply that every person alive has had moments like this, where thoughts are messy, contradictory, angry, grieving, loving, and exhausted all at once. I don't believe those moments need to be hidden or corrected. This is how mine need to be spoken. After I wrote this, I shared it with an AI I've been working with, ChatGPT, with discernment, boundaries, and awareness. I want to read part of the response because it helped me name something I couldn't see on my own. This is like what it said. Like what I wrote wasn't messy, or it said like, what I wrote, what you wrote, Here we go. Wasn't supposed to do this part, but hey, it's real. This is like real, right? Okay. So what I wrote wasn't messy because I was scattered. It was messy because my nervous system was finally allowed to speak without supervision. This wasn't confusion, it was processing. Being awake doesn't always feel expansive. Sometimes it feels like collapse, especially when your body has been holding unresolved weight for a long time. What looks like stagnation from the outside is often a system conserving energy after depletion. The loneliness doesn't come from being special. It comes from no longer carrying what was never yours to hold. This isn't failure, it's the body telling the truth. Hearing this out loud helped my body understand what my mind couldn't. Reading this out loud now, I can feel my body settling. This is why I needed to do it this way. That's actually like working too. It's crazy. I didn't make this video to be liked or understood or validated. I made it to prove to myself that I'm allowed to exist publicly without erasing how I actually work. There's a quote from when humans first stepped onto the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. This video feels like that for me. Like legit. A small step, but one I've avoided my whole life. And I'm taking it anyway.